Now, how do you measure? Now, I'm coming to the class fourth because, as I said, a lot of our problems are about measurement and detection. If I have to measure the length of the snake and the snake is alive, how would you measure it? There's a snake and I want to measure its length. How would you measure it?
Using some sort of paint, and I mean we can see the area. I mean, like there was a simple example when we were in class fifth, how we check the circumference of a circle.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, we just use a thread and wrap it around the circumference to see what the length of the thread is. So we can use a similar approach, I guess.
So the snake will bite you as soon as you go close to it and start to, okay, you may start with the tail, but finally you will have to take the thread to its head.
Sir, allow it to move through a tube. Um, that's a predetermined length.
So allow it to come, matlab kya hai? There's a
We'll
snake right there in front of you. What do you mean by allow it?
we'll put the pipe or something in front of the snake, the length, so that we can like, as it travels, we can like get some idea of how long it is.
Okay. Okay. More ideas? So one of the standard solutions is use a copy of the snake, of the thing that you want to measure. For example, you would have heard about those of you who are not circuit designers. I don't want to bother you with that example of canaries, but use a copy of the component or the system to do the measurement. So what would be the copy of the snake?
Sir, a rope.
A rope. A rope is a copy of the snake. Okay, so something else. Rope se to finally, rope you will use as a thread, na? You will want to measure the rope finally. But yeah, Parth?
So a copy, I mean, would it be a match to match copy? That is, can the size be different?
Yeah, scaled copy chalega.
No. I mean, can we use a worm in that case? Not.
Interesting. सोचो और सोचो कुछ. There's a snake. I want to measure its length. What could be a copy? Do snakes have a property through which you can measure their length? Do snakes leave something behind them, a copy of theirs behind them?
Yes, sir.
Shed their skin.
Covering their shells.
They shed their skin.
Yeah.
So if you can get hold of its skin, which it had recently shed, you just have the copy, you can measure it. Or another copy could be you take a photograph. That's a copy. So, okay, the major recommendations are try to change the system. There is no need for measurement, or measure a copy. Introduce a substance that generates a field. So introduce a mark internally or externally, or build a measurement substance field. So copy the snake. This is the skin of the snake that we could use. Or you just place a ruler somewhere so that you get the scale, idea of the scale, and then you take a photograph along with the ruler. Now you just use the thread on this photograph and you will get an idea of, so this photograph, because of the cellophane film, you are not able to see the entire winding of the snake. So you'll have to use the rod or something to make it unwind itself so that you're able to do it. But you keep a ruler there and take a photograph, and then you can measure the length of the snake. Does this help?
Yes sir, but sir हमेशा तो अवेलेबल नहीं होगा ना. I think like snake ने shed करी है अपनी like skin अभी.
हाँ. So
That's a problem.
so snake की length measure करने की requirement कहाँ पे आएगी? चलो ये let us look at that. Where would you want to measure the length of the snake? In which settings?
सर आई थिंक अगर हमको मिल जाता है कभी ऐसे ही लाइक घर में और समथिंग.
तो तुम उससे
Like
भागोगे
some-
उसका लेंथ मेजर करोगे?
नहीं सर, आई मीन लाइक वी कैन टेल पीपल कि लाइक दैट हिज आई वाज दिस और समथिंग.
Okay.
So to
So
monitor its growth maybe.
sorry.
To monitor its growth maybe where the skin
So
snake
where the
is.
snakes are being reared, for example, for some purpose, either to collect their venom or to do something. So when you want to study the snake, for example, or you are studying, doing something about those your hand. So snake की length measurement करने की problem usually तब है जब आपको उससे कुछ लेना देना है, ना कि बस डींगे मारनी है पड़ोस में कि मेरे घर में इतना बड़ा सांप आया था. So अगर वो डींगे भी मारनी है तो जहाँ पे वो सांप खड़ा था उधर की वो उसके भाग जाने के बाद उस लेंथ को मेजर कर लेंगे हम. हाँ, तो वहां पे तो उससे हो जाएगा काम. लेकिन अदरवाइज this requirement typically comes when you are rearing snakes or when you are kind of doing a study on snakes and their growth or something like that. In that case, you will on a very frequent basis be able to get its shed skin, because as the snake grows it will shed its skin. And if the skin has been shed just about, say, even a few days back, you will be within 1 centimeter of the actual length of the snake. Otherwise, you just take a photograph like this one. This one was taken in a setting where venom was being collected, and then you will be able to estimate the length of the snake by using a thread over this photograph there. So there are many other examples of how substance field, how systems are modified to prevent use of or to prevent any measurement at all. I remember, so you remember, try to change the system where there is no need to measure or detect. So there was I remember a case study where there was something, there was a circuit which was to be broken. So there was a heater circuit, and we wanted to break this circuit as soon as the temperature reached something like 67 degrees Celsius. So what was done was that the switch was made out of a magnetic material, and as soon as the temperature reached 67 degrees Celsius, so the magnetic material had the Curie point of 67 degrees Celsius. So as soon as the temperature reached 67, the magnetism was lost and the switch would close. Okay. So now, because you've used a material, now you don't really need to measure the temperature with a thermometer. So everything else is not needed now. The system has been modified so that there is no need to measure. The system will automatically operate. I also remember an example where, for example, you want to detect leakages in a refrigerant. Big refrigeration systems in industrial settings, the refrigerant is leaking. Yeah, big systems kya aapke ghar pe bhi, you have these split ACs, the refrigerant may leak. So you want to detect that. How do you do it? How would you detect the leakage in a refrigerant?
Monitor the pressure.
Oh, to monitor the pressure, then you have to have a pressure gauge and everything. Aap ghar pe ho, you want to just, you want the system to tell yourself, then you're measuring, then you're essentially measuring. We want to avoid measurements, because measurement is the problem. अब घर में कितनी जगह से पाइप घूम रहा है. How do you measure everywhere? How do you locate where the leakage is happening?
Gas, if the leaking gas is having some order, like in LPG, like they added, I don't remember the name of that gas.
Hydrogen
It was
sulfide. Hydrogen sulfide.
so as to detect whether there is any leakage or not.
So that prevented, so adding that hydrogen sulfide ensured that what field was generated? Olfactory field was generated. You could smell it now. In terms of refrigerants, you want an optical field, preferably. So what is done is, in big systems, the gas is actually also mixed with some fluorescent substance. A fluorescent substance is added to the gas. So wherever the gas is leaking from, even if it is a very dark crevice, you just run the torch to see is there any leakage. And if it is leaking from somewhere, that part of that hole, chota sa bhi hole hoga, because of the fluorescent substance, it will at once shine. The substance will itself tell you, the hole will itself tell you, I am here. You just need to go and plug it. So you've added a field so that you're able to solve the problem there. So this is a quick overview of substance field diagrams and the standard solutions. I don't think we will be needing to use many of them. I think for most of our purposes in our course, use of the technical contradiction matrix, the physical contradictions, function-oriented search, etc., would be able to help us solve the problems. Okay, so I will keep this session to this introduction level only. We can go in more details. If you want, I can point you to resources where you can have much more details about standard solutions. But for the purpose of this class, we will limit it at this. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
What option do you have? You can't even say no. If you say nahi, hame aur padhao, तो then there is more material to study. If you say कि नहीं पढ़ाओ तो भी आपके पास ऑप्शन नहीं है, इतना तो पढ़ाना ही है.